What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into the episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleeves. Today's episode, we're going to finish up the rankings. This is my tied in top 25 rankings heading into By-Mageddon Week 8, guys. Remember, Lions, Raiders, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Jags are all out. So it's time to lock in. And if you guys want the statistic breaks down, or like all the defenses, receptions, yards, points allowed, I do all of that on the start sits. Obviously, I use those stats in my rankings as well. But this is just going to be my personality, my takes on the game, my ranking, and a couple jokes here and there on it. So let's dive into it, guys. And before we do, make sure you help me out. Make sure you tap that thumbs up button. Hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on tonight. We are live at 6 p.m. Eastern for the first start sit show of the week. And we're going to be doing a couple pick'em talks on drafters.com. If you haven't signed up using promo code SLEEVES, make sure you do. And then check out the guys FF that will be pinned in the comments and in the Discord as well. Me and Big Draft Energy, we cover everything fantasy football for you guys 24/7. Now let's dive into my Week 8 top 25 tight end rankings. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my tight end board here. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5. We are going to crank through top 25 here. If you need to go that deep, I'll probably go short at the end because I don't think the last 5 tight ends you're going to need. But if you play in super deep leagues, I'm going to drop them in there for you guys as well. Now at the top here, Bowers, Laporta, McBride. The superstar tight ends are not playing this week, but at least Brock Bowers is, back into going to be back after the bye week. So Brenton Strange still on IR. David Njoku day-to-day, pay attention to him, but he was day-to-day last week and didn't play. And then Darren Waller with the pec injury is out for the season, guys. So those guys are off the board completely here in this week. Now, we could also throw up the Rams 3 tight ends, Colby Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, or Terrence Ferguson. And then when you look at, the Seahawks, we had the same kind of thing. Elijah Arroyo kind of bounced back against A.J. Barner, so I haven't thrown them up there. Or we could use Hunter Long for the Jaguars, but I don't think that's a player you're going to be using. So I just left them off the board. Now, we're going to start off with number 1 this week, the rookie, the monster, Tyler Warren. Man, this guy is absolutely electric. It never was Colston Loveland, man. It never was, and it was never going to be. I keep saying that every video. I'm like, all those people that gave me all that hate, man, come on back. Let's talk about it. Absolute monster out of Penn State. This guy has a chance at being tight end 1 this year. Just depends on if Jacoby Brissett stays with Trey McBride, because that looks absolutely electric between those two. But the only thing I'm worried about here, and I'm not worried, obviously, he's my tight end 1, but the game script here could get really, really ugly against the Colts, or against the Titans. They could just run him over with JT. But still, with all the By-Mageddon week going on, I like Tyler Warren as my tight end 1. Tight end number 2 is going to be Tucker Kraft in the Green Bay Packers Aaron Rodgers revenge game on Sunday Night Football. And guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they struggle versus the tight end heavy, as do the Packers. So you're looking at kind of a game here where it could be kind of interesting tight end wise for both these teams. And you saw that last week when I was talking about the Bengals and the Steelers and how I like the tight ends to score in that game between Noah Fant and all the tight ends. These are the worst teams versus tight end. I mean, the Steelers and Green Bay are 31-30. They are bottom of the barrel. So when I'm looking at Jonnu Smith, and I'm going to pull him up here as well, I think I have him ranked lower down here. Or maybe I don't. That's why I don't have Jonnu Smith ranked, is because they have Darnell Washington and Pat Frymouth, and I don't know who to decide is going to hit because they had 4 touchdowns last week. But if you need like a deep flex play throw, they're not bad this week either. And Tucker Kraft, man, you're going to have Christian Watson back this week on the outside, Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden in the middle. He's going to be running free all season long with all these wide receivers they're about to bring back, plus Jaden Reed's almost back. Number 3, and this one is spicy here. So I thought about putting him tight end 1 here. The Carolina Panthers defense has been absolutely electric, and this is going to be the Dalton Kincaid week. And he's coming off injury, and Dawson Knox looks like he's not going to play as well. So with Dalton Kincaid this week, do we have a game script with Andy Dalton where the Bills just blow him out of the water, or does Andy Dalton kind of light up the offense like he did last year when he came in the first game and make this a game? Because the Carolina Panthers defense is good everywhere but against the tight end. So this is a Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir across the middle week. That is where the Panthers struggle. Again, it's just going to be game script dependent here. Number 4, man, Kittle diddle down the middle. My 49er dropped a zero in his first game back. He was just out there for straight run blocking purposes for CMC, and it absolutely paid off in the game script for the Falcons for the win. But it really hurt us who were waiting for him in fantasy football. And you got to like his little press conference afterwards saying, oh, man, and blame the coaches in every game, guys, that he's had one or less catch. The next game, he averages 16.1 fantasy points. Shout out to George for that little tidbit tweet. So don't worry about Kittle. Number 5, Jake Ferguson, the Dallas Cowboys. You get the Denver Broncos. They're very good, but again, I've talked about it all week long. I'm not scared at all with Dak Prescott and this Cowboys offense. You're starting probably all of them every single week that they're out there. Their defense is going to get shredded every single week. They're going to be pass heavy. They're going to score 30 points a game pretty much. Well, maybe not in this game because it's a tough one, but these guys you just can't sit with how Dak Prescott is playing. Number 6, and this one's really spicy here. So, Kyle Pitts was, and I talked about it during the Niner game, that's our weak spot is versus tight end across the middle with the too high scheme. So when you have Pitts in that game, it's the same matchup here versus Miami. They're very bad versus the tight end, but so this is like a volume play of mine that I like for a touchdown. This is a touchdown call with Kyle Pitts because Bijan and Algier are probably going to chew up 250 yards on the ground. I mean, this Miami defense is not good versus the run. So this is a banking on a tight end touchdown for National Tight End Day for Kyle Pitts this week, and I have him at number 6. And you saw the volume and the connection with Penix last week. It was very, very nice and very encouraging for Kyle Pitts owners. Number 7, heading down to tier 1, Dallas Goedert, and he absolutely torched the New York Giants last time they played this season in New York. Now they're in Philly, and I think he had like a 30-point game. And I'm not looking at stats or nothing for the video here. 28, 30 points, if I remember. Now, I've said it a couple times this week that after getting beat by 30 points to Dallas Goedert last week, don't you think they're going to coach up, scheme a different look for Dallas Goedert this week? You have to think that they will. But the Giants secondary has been getting absolutely torched by wide receivers too. And their front 7, they're nasty up front with Burns. He's playing out of his mind. Their whole front 7 is very good. Thibodeau, all of them. So, tougher game probably for Saquon in a revenge game, and I think Dallas Goedert's going to be a serviceable tight end again, and he's that guy I just never trust, but man, he's going to do it here again, I think. Number 8, this is one of my favorite plays of the week, probably Tyrod Taylor dependent here. I mean, Mason Taylor, and you didn't have Garrett Wilson didn't practice again today. I saw the update. He wasn't out there on Thursday. So, Friday is always the big day, which kind of sucks if you're like playing a Thursday tight end. But Mason Taylor, this matchup is the best in football. And like I said already, we're talking about Jonnu Smith and the Steelers. Dude, they scored 4 touchdowns in one game with 3 different tight ends against the Bengals. They cannot stop the tight end. They're dead last by a mile. So picture it like this. Green Bay, who we talked about was bad, Cincy averages 4 points more per game at 22 points a game to the tight end. That is terrible. 9 touchdowns. That's ridiculously bad. So if Tyrod Taylor is out there, which I'm assuming he's going to be with how Justin Fields has played, Mason Taylor's going to smash because Justin Fields last week couldn't even find Mason Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor came in for 1 or 2 drives and had like 4 targets to Taylor. This is going to be a big game for him, pending on Tyrod Taylor being out there. Number 9, Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs. And God, I already forgot that I usually talk about 2 teams at once when I do it, so I catch up here. They're going against Zach Ertz. Now, we also know that Marcus Mariota is going to be out there for the Commanders, so how much are the Chiefs really going to need in this game, right? And it looks like Debo and Terry McLaurin may be back, which will help Mariota still. But this Chiefs offense is so potent, so unstoppable that they might just score 30 points again and use their reserves down the stretch here without JD5 out there. So I still got Kelce at 9 and Zach Ertz at 13. But when you're looking at going up against the Chiefs for Zach Ertz, Steve Spagnuolo is defensive coordinator mastermind versus tight ends. I think the only one to score was Sam Laporta this year. The only touchdown they gave up, and it was a triple coverage, back of the end zone, toe tap touchdown. So very, very tough matchup for Zach Ertz, but I still have him at 13 just because Buymageddon week. Now, this is one of my favorite plays here this week, and I'm hoping it's a smash. And if you guys have been subscribed before, you heard content before, like Evan Ingram was my dark horse tight end 1. And I love the situation he was in. You're starting to see it come to fruition, but it's still just not enough usage for me. And I know he played the most snaps of the season last week, and he had that calf injury early. He's older. Then he had the back injury, and he missed a game. But you got to look at these numbers like this. Like, And I know he's older, so I mean, you could use that if you want at age 31, right? Because that's a given. But 56% snaps is the highest he's played all year. Michael Mayer, off, with Brock Bowers down, played 92%. Now, if you go back to like 2024, Evan Ingram is at 85% snap share tight end. That is where we need him at. Then you'll get the Joker role that Jimmy Graham absolutely dominated in, and you're seeing it already in limited work. So you're seeing 7 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets. That's how good it's going to be. He just needs to get out there at 80%, and this is a baller tier tight end weekly because they don't have really a wide receiver 2. You could say Marvin Mims or Franklin, but it's always a nightmare out there. Number 11, the fantasy football darling, like father, like son, Oronde Gadsden. And he just absolutely electrified fantasy football last week. It was freaking crazy. 164 yards. That is the third best outing in NFL history for a rookie tight end in one game, dating back to like Mike Ditka in the old days. That's when the tight end was, prominent as the position when they just, target the tight end nonstop. What a performance. And I don't know if I trust it again. They have tons of weapons. You still got to start him because just the volume's been great. Even in limited snaps, he was getting 7 targets. And they're going up against the Vikings. Vikings just got crushed by the wide receiver. It was like a complete flip game script last week. The Vikings were good versus the quarterback and weak versus the tight end. And they got smashed by the wide receiver and the quarterback. And they were weak versus the running back. It was like a complete flip game off a bye. So it was very strange. And TJ Hawkinson's probably in for a tough matchup here as well. So this is kind of that game where, it's National Tight End Week. Could they both get a touchdown? Because I firmly believe the coaches do scheme up. Look at last year, man. There was like 15 touchdowns for the tight end on National Touchdown Day. I don't know if that's correct, but I think it was like around the 13 to 15 range. So, if you want to ride the lightning, I'm not against it. I just still think there's a lot of weapons in LA and there's a lot of weapons in Minnesota, man. There's a lot of mouths to feed. So I have them at 11 and 12 this week. Number 14, Cade Otton, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we've already got, Mike Evans goes down with that injury. Chris Godwin's going to be ruled out. Bucky Irving's going to be ruled out, and they're trying to just hold on to go to 6-2 to beat the Saints here this week, and I think they can do it with Baker Mayfield. They're still favored by 3.5 in this game. Spencer Rattler and them have been playing better. I mean, Juwan Johnson, we'll throw him up here as well at number 20. He had a kind of a back to a good Juwan Johnson game. I still don't trust it. Taysom Hill, I'm tired of hearing about. And Cade Otton can be a serviceable tight end 2 play this week. I mean, he looked good last week. He had, I think, 8 catches, nothing big 8.8 fantasy points, not 8 catches. So if you need to throw out Cade Otton on Buymageddon, I'm not mad at it. Now, from here, this is where it kind of gets sketchy for me. So Mark Andrews, we don't know if Lamar's going to be out there. Sleeper dropped that update that he's practiced 2 days in a row. They still say it's going to be close. So I'm just putting Mark Andrews in the middle right now just because we don't know. And it's kind of the same for Colston Loveland. Like, I would move Colston Loveland up a lot, but it says right now, quote unquote, Cole Kmet unlikely, which still not official. So let's say that, Cole Kmet's not out there. I like Colston Loveland against a matchup if Lamar plays, right? So it's like, if Lamar doesn't play, how much are they going to need Colston Loveland? So all of this is a nightmare decision right now for me, but I like Colston Loveland a ton if Lamar plays. But if Lamar doesn't, then I don't like Colston Loveland. And if Lamar plays, I like Mark Andrews more. And if he doesn't, then I don't. So it's like, oh, man, I wish I just had the official update. Harold Fannin Jr., and we don't know. This is another one. We don't know about David Njoku down here in the corner. So Njoku day-to-day right here in the bottom of the box. If he's out there, you're probably back to a double split tight end play where, Dylan Gabriel loves to target his tight ends. The matchup versus the Patriots is going to be good versus the tight end. They're very good versus the running back. They're very good versus the wide receiver with Christian Gonzalez. But Christian Gonzalez could also come down and lock up Harold Fannin in the slot or lock up David Njoku across the middle. He's becoming that much of a talented cornerback. So it's like, garbage time points will be there. I just don't know where to rank Njoku yet because he's not out there. Hunter Henry, and we'll go quick through these last ones because, well, maybe not. We'll round out tier 2. Hunter Henry, I don't like the matchup versus Cleveland here, even though I think you could get, a serviceable tight end 2 play with touchdown upside. They've been better versus tight end recently. They're getting cooked by the wide receivers because they stop the run at will. Like Ramondre Stevenson and, if I even dare say, Travion Henderson. They're going to be in for a tough matchup here. So there's going to be a lot more passing, but I don't think it's going to be a Hunter Henry game. I think it's more of a Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Boutte game here. Now, Dalton Schultz. Now, this one again, this becomes really, really interesting here. So, like all these rankings right now, and this is why like early in the week sometimes it's just rough. This is one of those weeks. Like Dalton Schultz doesn't have Nico Collins on concussion protocol, and possibly Christian Kirk with the hamstring. You saw last week targets galore, 10 targets. So he would go up a ton. I just don't know yet. And I'm dropping I'm not even saying it's early. It's Thursday, man. We should have these updates, but we just don't have them yet because he got a concussion on Monday night. So it makes it a longer process. You don't get the Sunday extra day. So if Dalton Schultz and if Colston Loveland down here as well, if they both get none of their people out there, they move up. So just note that. Now, these last ones will go through quick. Theo Johnson, very, very tough matchup. Eagles, Fangio, lights out versus tight end. No go there for me. Chikakonkwo is losing snaps to Gunnar Helm. So something to pay attention there, too. I have him at 22. Noah Fant is interesting. I don't like the matchup. I mean, you get it. It's actually decent versus the Jets, but you could get Tanner Hudson back. Drew Samples getting involved. They're going to rotate a lot of them. Mike Gesicki's still on IR, so he has, sleeper play value, but nothing I really like. And then Isaiah Likely coming in at number 24 here at the end. And again, he's like a stash tight end right now. There's been a lot of trade rumors for Mark Andrews, and we don't know about Lamar Jackson yet. So I think this game is going to be really enticing if Lamar Jackson is out there versus the Bears. It's just too early to tell, and it's making it so damn hard to rank everybody because that concussion for the Texans happened on Monday, and Lamar's hammy, we don't know yet. So, again, I guess I'll note it at the end here is Colston Loveland, Dalton Schultz. They go way up, like top 8 to 12, I'd say 10 to 12 range. Like I like him more than TJ Hawkinson in a game like that. If we get, Cole Kmet is ruled out. If we get that Nico Collins and Christian Kirk are ruled out, I absolutely love these guys to move the board a ton. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of all the rankings. That's my tight end rankings, top 25. You want to see my wide receivers, my running back, my quarterbacks, my defense and kickers. Those are all out, guys. Got them all out before the Thursday night kickoff tonight. I'm also going to be live tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you guys can't make it in there, drop any questions, comments you have down below. I try to answer every single one of them. If you haven't already on your way out, make sure you tap that like, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. Helps me out a ton. You guys have been absolutely goated. I can't thank you enough. And if you guys haven't checked out the guys, ff4drafters.com, they'll be pinned in the comments and in the description of the video to help with fantasy football 24/7. And then tomorrow, Friday, I'll be live doing some drafters and some underdog drafts on there as well. We'll be looking at some battle royales, some splashes, how to DFS draft, and everything like that. That's it for me in this episode. My next one will be either my top 5 quarterback, tight end smash plays, running back smash plays, wide receiver, tight ends, or wide receivers, or I might look into sleepers here. Just depends on how the day goes. Kind of a busy day, but I hope I get one more episode out. So thanks for listening, guys. As always, Sleazebomb out. I'll catch you in the next one.